Lisa Martinez stood in line at the airport gate, waiting to board her flight to San Francisco. She wore a plain gray sweater, comfortable jeans, and simple walking shoes. Her graying hair was pulled back in a loose ponytail, and she carried an old leather messenger bag that had seen better days. At 52, Lisa had long ago stopped caring about designer clothes or fancy accessories. She preferred things that worked well and lasted a long time. The gate agent called for first-class passengers to board. Lisa picked up her small carry-on suitcase and moved forward with her boarding pass. The agent looked at her ticket, then at Lisa with a slight raise of her eyebrows. "First class is boarding now, ma'am," the agent said slowly as if Lisa might not understand. "Yes, I know." "That's my seat," Lisa replied with a gentle smile, handing over her boarding pass. The agent scanned it, looking surprised. "Oh, yes. Seat 2A. Have a nice flight, Miss Martinez." Lisa nodded and walked down the jet bridge. She had grown used to these reactions. As the founder and CEO of Horizon Tech, one of the fastest-growing technology companies in America, she could easily afford the most expensive clothes and accessories. But Lisa saw no point in spending money on such things. She saved where she could and invested the rest back into her company and its employees. As she stepped onto the plane, the lead flight attendant, Diane, greeted passengers with a bright smile that dimmed slightly when she saw Lisa. "Welcome aboard," Diane said, her eyes moving quickly over Lisa's casual outfit. "First class is to your right." "Thank you," Lisa said, turning right as directed. The first-class cabin was half full, with business travelers in expensive suits and watches that cost more than most people's monthly rent. Lisa found her window seat and put her bag in the overhead compartment. She sat down and took out her book on quantum computing, along with a small notebook and pen. She liked to take notes while she read. A man in a tailored navy suit approached and checked his ticket. "Looks like I'm next to you," he said, giving Lisa a quick, dismissive glance. "Good morning," Lisa replied. The man, Gregory Powell, stored his designer luggage and sat down. He immediately pulled out his phone and began typing emails without another word to Lisa. She didn't mind. She opened her book and began reading where she had left off. More passengers boarded. A woman with perfectly styled blonde hair and a cream-colored business suit took the seat across the aisle. Lisa recognized her from technology conferences as Pamela Wright, an executive at a major jewelry company that sold online. Pamela looked at Lisa with confusion, clearly wondering how someone so plainly dressed had ended up in first class. "Greg, I didn't know you were on this flight," Pamela called across to Gregory. Gregory looked up from his phone and smiled widely. "Pamela, great to see you. Heading to the tech conference?" "Of course. We're unveiling our new virtual try-on feature. What about you? Is your team ready for the big pitch competition?" "More than ready. We're going to blow everyone away," Gregory said confidently. He lowered his voice slightly, but not enough that Lisa couldn't hear. "Though I'm not sure about the seating arrangements on this flight. They seem to be letting just anyone into first class these days." Pamela glanced at Lisa and smirked. "I know what you mean. The standards aren't what they used to be." Lisa pretended not to hear, turning a page in her book. She was used to this too. People often judged her by her appearance, assuming that success and wealth should be displayed through expensive clothes and jewelry. Lisa had never seen the point. The final passengers boarded, and the flight attendants began their pre-flight service. Diane approached with drinks for first class. "Champagne?" she offered to Gregory with a warm smile. "Absolutely," he replied. "And for you, ma'am?" Diane asked Lisa, her tone noticeably cooler. "Just water, please," Lisa said. Diane nodded and returned, shortly with the drinks. She placed Gregory's champagne carefully on his tray with a cocktail napkin. She handed Lisa's water over with less care, some of it splashing onto Lisa's book. "Oh, I'm so sorry," Diane said, though her apology sounded hollow. She handed Lisa a napkin and quickly moved on to serve other passengers. Lisa dabbed at her book, making sure the pages weren't damaged. Gregory sipped his champagne and watched her with barely disguised contempt. "That's an interesting choice of reading material," he commented, pointing at her book with his glass. "Quantum computing. Bit complex, isn't it?" "It can be," Lisa agreed. But it's fascinating once you understand the basics. Gregory let out a short laugh. I'm sure, though I doubt many people in your position would find it useful. My position? Lisa asked, knowing full well what he meant. Well, you know, Gregory gestured vaguely at her clothes. Not everyone needs to understand such technical subjects. Lisa smiled politely. I find it helps me in my work. And what work would that be? Gregory asked with the air of someone who didn't really care about the answer. I'm in the tech industry, Lisa said simply. Ah. Gregory nodded, clearly assuming she meant something like data entry or basic customer service. Well, good for you, for trying to learn more. The plane began to move away from the gate. The safety demonstration started, and Gregory turned his attention back to his phone until the flight attendants insisted he put it away for takeoff. Pamela leaned across the aisle. Greg, did you hear about the Horizon Tech announcement expected? At the conference, everyone's talking about it. Gregory nodded eagerly. Yes, rumor has it they've developed some revolutionary new supply chain system, though I'll believe it when I see it. Their CEO is so cautious about innovation. What's her name again, Martinez? Lisa Martinez, Pamela confirmed. She's so understated. Never gives interviews, rarely appears at public events. Some people wonder if she's actually real or just a figurehead. Lisa turned a page in her book, hiding a small smile. Well, caution doesn't win in this industry, Gregory declared loudly. My company takes risks. That's how you get ahead. As the plane climbed to cruising altitude, the seatbelt sign turned off. Diane returned to take meal orders. We have a special first-class menu today, she announced, handing out menus to everyone except Lisa. When Lisa looked up expectantly, Diane seemed to notice her for the first time. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you need one too? Yes, please, Lisa said. Diane handed her a menu with a tight smile. The chicken is the simplest option, she suggested to Lisa. Nothing too fancy. Thank you for the recommendation, Lisa replied calmly. Gregory and Pamela ordered the filet mignon with truffle butter and exotic mushroom risotto. When Diane came to take Lisa's order, she chose the same. Are you sure? Diane asked with raised eyebrows. It's quite sophisticated. I'm sure I'll manage, Lisa said. Gregory exchanged amused glances with Pamela. Treating yourself today, are you? He asked Lisa with a condescending smile. Something like that, Lisa replied. As the flight continued, Gregory and Pamela talked loudly about their important business dealings, expensive vacation homes, and connections to famous people. They occasionally glanced at Lisa to make sure she was properly impressed. Lisa continued reading her book, making notes in the margins with a practiced hand. Little did they know that the modest woman they were so eager to humiliate was the very CEO they had just been discussing. And soon enough, they would discover exactly who was sitting among them. The flight attendants brought the meals to first class. Diane served Gregory and Pamela first, presenting their filet mignon with a flourish. When she finally reached Lisa, she placed the plate down with much less care. Enjoy your meal, Diane said flatly before walking away. Lisa looked at her food. Despite ordering the same meal as Gregory and Pamela, her portion seemed smaller, and the presentation was sloppy. The meat was placed carelessly on the plate and the sauce was splattered on the side. Lisa said nothing about this unfair treatment. She simply cut a small piece of meat and began to eat. How is it? Gregory asked with a smirk. Not what you're used to, I imagine. It's fine, Lisa replied. Though I've had better. Gregory raised his eyebrows. Really? Where? A small restaurant in San Francisco. They focus on quality ingredients rather than fancy presentation. Gregory laughed. Well, I dine at the Golden Gate Club regularly. Exclusive membership, 5-star chef. I doubt your little restaurant compares. You never know, Lisa said with a small smile. Pamela leaned across the aisle, her gold bracelets jingling. Greg was just telling me about his new vacation home in Aspen. Where do you vacation? She asked Lisa with fake interest. I enjoy hiking in national parks, Lisa answered. Yellowstone is my favorite. How Rustic, Pamela said, exchanging a look with Gregory. We're more into luxury resorts. I just got back from the Maldives. Private villa over the water, personal butler, the works. Sounds nice, Lisa said. Politely. Nice doesn't begin to describe it, Pamela continued. It costs $10,000 a night, but it's worth every penny. Lisa nodded and returned to her meal. She found their need to brag about money and status strange. In her view, success was about making a positive difference, not about showing off wealth. As they ate, a businessman from another row walked past on his way to the bathroom. He stopped suddenly when he saw Lisa. "Excuse me," he said hesitantly. "You look familiar. Have we met before?" Lisa looked up. "It's possible. I attend many industry events." The man shook his head. "No, that's not it. I feel like I've seen your picture somewhere." He studied her face for a moment, then shrugged. "Sorry to bother you." As he walked away, Gregory snorted. "Mistaken identity, clearly." "Clearly," Pamela agreed. "Though she does have one of those ordinary faces that could be anyone." Lisa took a sip of water, unbothered by their comments. She had built her company from nothing into a billion-dollar enterprise. She had nothing to prove to these people. After the meal, Gregory took out his laptop. "I need to review my presentation for the conference," he announced importantly. "I'm speaking about my company's revolutionary approach to AI integration." "Oh, that sounds fascinating," Pamela said. "My team is still struggling with implementing AI effectively." "It's all about being bold," Gregory declared loudly enough for everyone in first class to hear. "Taking risks. That's what separates true leaders from followers." He glanced at Lisa. "Some companies, like Horizon Tech, are too cautious. That's why they'll eventually fall behind." Lisa looked up from her book. "You think Horizon Tech is too cautious?" "Absolutely," Gregory said confidently. "Their CEO, what's her name again?" "Lisa Martinez. She's known for being overly careful. They have the resources to dominate the market, but they move too slowly. No vision." "That's an interesting perspective," Lisa said calmly. "Maybe their approach is deliberate, sustainable growth rather than rapid expansion." Gregory waved his hand dismissively. "That's loser talk. In tech, you either disrupt or get disrupted." "And your company is disrupting?" Lisa asked. "PowerCore Solutions is changing the game," Gregory boasted. "We're growing at twice the rate of our competitors. By cutting corners on security and privacy," Lisa murmured almost to herself. Gregory's eyes narrowed. "What did you say?" "Nothing important," Lisa replied with a polite smile. Gregory stared at her suspiciously for a moment, then turned back to his laptop. "Anyway, we're expected to announce a major partnership at the conference. It's going to shake up the entire industry." "Anyone we know?" Pamela asked eagerly. Gregory lowered his voice. "I shouldn't say, but we're in talks with global tech partners." Lisa raised an eyebrow but said nothing. She knew for a fact that global tech partners had declined PowerCore's proposal 3 weeks ago due to serious concerns about their data practices. She had received the inside information from Global's CEO, who was an old friend. "That's impressive," Pamela said. "They're very selective about their partners." "Well, excellence recognizes excellence," Gregory said smugly. The plane hit a patch of turbulence and the seatbelt sign came on. Diane moved through the cabin, checking that everyone was secured. She stopped by Gregory's seat. "Can I get you?" "Anything, sir?" she asked warmly. "I'm fine for now, thank you," Gregory replied. Diane nodded and deliberately stepped past Lisa without checking if she needed anything. Lisa noticed but remained silent. As the turbulence continued, a young flight attendant named Ben came through with water for the passengers. Unlike Diane, he treated everyone equally, offering water to each person with the same friendly smile. "Would you like some water, ma'am?" he asked Lisa politely. "Yes, thank you," Lisa said, accepting the cup with a grateful nod. Ben moved on, and Gregory leaned over to Pamela. "The service standards are really slipping," he said loudly. "They're letting anyone into first class these days, and some of the staff don't know how to properly cater to premium customers." Pamela nodded in agreement. It's not like it used to be. Ben overheard this comment and frowned slightly but said, nothing. He finished serving water and returned to the galley. An hour into the flight, Lisa took out her phone and activated the airplane's Wi-Fi. She needed to check on an important project before they landed. As she scrolled through her emails, Gregory glanced over at her screen. Working hard? He asked with a patronizing tone. Something like that, Lisa replied, angling her screen away from his prying eyes. What kind of work do you do exactly? Gregory pressed. You mentioned you're in tech? Yes, Lisa said simply. I solve problems. What kind of problems? Gregory persisted. All kinds. Today I'm dealing with a supply chain issue. Gregory laughed. Supply chain? So you're what, in logistics? Data entry? You could say I oversee operations, Lisa said. Well, if you ever need career advice, I'd be happy to help, Gregory offered condescendingly. Tech can be a challenging field for beginners. That's very kind, Lisa said, hiding her amusement. I'll keep that in mind. Pamela joined the conversation. Gregory is being modest. He's one of the leading experts in the field. His company, Power Core Solutions, is on track to become the next tech giant. Is that so? Lisa asked. Absolutely, Gregory confirmed. We've raised over $200 million in our last funding round. I could put in a good word for you if you're looking to advance. We always need people to handle basic operations. Thank you, but I'm content where I am, Lisa said. Suit yourself, Gregory shrugged. But opportunities like this don't come along every day. Lisa nodded and returned to her emails. One message caught her attention, an urgent note from her executive team about a potential security breach at one of their partner companies. She frowned slightly as she read the details. Bad news? Gregory asked, still watching her. Nothing I can't handle, Lisa replied, typing a quick response to her team. As she worked, Lisa was vaguely aware of Gregory and Pamela continuing to talk about their important connections and luxury lifestyles. Their voices faded into background noise as she focused on solving the real problems facing her company. What Gregory and Pamela didn't know was that in just a few hours, they would discover the true identity of the modest woman they had been, so eager to dismiss and humiliate. And when that moment came, Lisa Martinez, the CEO of Horizon Tech, would teach them a valuable lesson about judgment and humility that they would not soon forget. The plane flew steadily through clear skies as the flight reached its halfway point to San Francisco. Lisa put away her phone after handling the urgent emails. The security issue at their partner company wasn't as serious as first reported, but she had instructed her team to implement additional safeguards anyway. Being careful had saved Horizon Tech from many problems over the years. Gregory was still working on his presentation, muttering to himself as he changed slides. He seemed nervous about his speech at the conference. Pamela had fallen asleep, her eye mask in place and her seat slightly reclined. Lisa returned to her book on quantum computing. As she read, she made notes in the margins. Her thoughts were interrupted when Diane, the flight attendant, came by with a fresh round of drinks. More champagne, sir? Diane asked Gregory with a bright smile. Please, Gregory said, closing his laptop and stretching. Diane placed the champagne carefully on his tray. She then looked at Lisa with much less enthusiasm. Anything for you, Neon? Would be nice, Lisa said. With lemon if you have it. We might be out of lemon, Diane replied quickly. I'll check. Lisa nodded. When Diane returned a few minutes later, she handed Lisa a cup of tea without lemon. Sorry, no lemon left, she said, and moved on before Lisa could respond. Lisa noticed Ben, the kind young flight attendant, watching this interaction with a frown. He approached a moment later. Excuse me, he said quietly to Lisa. I just checked, and we do have lemons. Would you like me to get you one? That would be very kind, thank you, Lisa said with a warm smile. Ben returned with a slice of lemon on a small plate. Here you go, ma'am. Please let me know if you need anything else. Thank you, Ben, Lisa said, reading his name tag. I appreciate your thoughtfulness. Ben smiled and continued his duties. Gregory, who had observed this exchange, shook his head. The senior staff know how to recognize who deserves special treatment, he said loud enough for Diane to hear as she passed by. The newer ones haven't learned that skill yet. Diane gave Gregory an approving look. Lisa sipped her tea and said, "Nothing." She had long ago learned that responding to rudeness with more rudeness solved nothing. The pilot's voice came over the speakers, announcing they were entering an area of light turbulence. "Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for possible turbulence. Passengers, please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts." As the plane began to bounce slightly, Gregory gripped his armrests. Despite his confident talk, he seemed afraid of flying. Lisa noticed his knuckles turning white. "Not a fan of turbulence?" she asked gently. "It's fine," Gregory said stiffly. "Just a waste of time. I have important matters waiting for me in San Francisco." The plane dropped suddenly, causing several passengers to gasp. Gregory's champagne spilled on his expensive suit pants. "Damn it," he cursed, grabbing napkins to dab at the stain. Lisa calmly handed him her unused cocktail napkin. "Try blotting, not rubbing," she suggested. "It works better." Gregory snatched the napkin without thanks and continued to wipe at the spreading stain. "This suit cost $3,000, he complained. "Club soda might help," Lisa offered. "Should I ask Ben to bring some?" Before Gregory could answer, his phone rang. Despite the seatbelt sign being on, he quickly answered it. "Powell." "Speaking," he said importantly. "Yes, I'm still on the flight. What? That can't be right." His face paled as he listened to the caller. "What do you mean they pulled out? The deal was almost finalized." His voice rose, causing other passengers to look his way. "Well, fix it." "That's what I pay you for." He ended the call and threw his phone down on the tray table. "Incompetent fools," he muttered. "Problems with global tech partners?" Lisa asked quietly. Gregory stared at her, surprised. "How did you know that?" Lisa shrugged. "Just a guess. You mentioned them earlier." "Well, yes," Gregory admitted, running a hand through his hair. "Apparently they've decided to partner with Horizon Tech instead. After all our work, it makes no sense." "Perhaps they found Horizon's approach more aligned with their values," Lisa suggested. "Values don't matter in business," Gregory snapped. "Results do. Our projections were better." "Were they realistic projections?" Lisa asked. "Or just what your investors wanted to hear?" Gregory narrowed his eyes. "You seem to know a lot about business for someone in, what was it again? Basic operations?" "I've picked up a few things over the years," Lisa said. The plane leveled out and the turbulence eased. Pamela woke up and removed her eye mask. "Did I miss anything?" she asked, yawning. Just Gregory learning that global tech partners chose Horizon Tech over PowerCore, Lisa said. Pamela's eyes widened. "Really? That's a major blow, Greg." Gregory glared at Lisa. "How do you know about these companies anyway? You haven't even told us where you work." "I pay attention," Lisa replied simply. "Well, it doesn't matter," Gregory said dismissively. "One, partnership won't make a difference. PowerCore is still going to dominate the market." "With what technology?" Lisa asked. "Your AI integration system is based on outdated architecture. The security flaws alone would concern any major partner." Gregory's mouth fell open. "How could you possibly know that?" "Like I said, I pay attention." Pamela was now fully awake and looking at Lisa with growing suspicion. "Who are you exactly?" she demanded. Before Lisa could answer, Ben approached their row. "Ms. Martinez, I have an urgent message for you from the ground," he said, handing Lisa a folded piece of paper. Lisa thanked him and opened the note. It was from her executive assistant, informing her that the Global Tech Partners deal was officially signed and asking for her final approval on the press release that would go out when she landed. Gregory was staring at Lisa with a strange expression. "Martinez?" he repeated slowly. "Your name is Martinez?" "Yes," Lisa confirmed. "Lisa Martinez." The color drained from Gregory's face as realization dawned. Lisa Martinez, as in the CEO of Horizon Tech? That Lisa Martinez? Pamela gasped audibly. Heads turned throughout the first-class cabin as people began to whisper. Lisa nodded calmly. Yes, that's me. Gregory's mouth opened and closed several times without producing sound. He looked like a fish out of water. But you're not, you don't look like a CEO? Lisa finished for him. What does a CEO look like, Gregory? Pamela was frantically trying to remember everything she had said about Horizon Tech earlier, her face growing redder by the second. I don't understand, Gregory finally managed to say. If you're really Lisa Martinez, why are you dressed like that? Where are your assistants? Your security? Why are you flying commercial? Because I value practicality over appearance, Lisa replied. I don't need expensive clothes to know my worth. I don't need an entourage to feel important. And I fly commercial because it's efficient and gives me a chance to work quietly. Diane, who had been passing by with a coffee pot, overheard this exchange and stopped in her tracks. The coffee pot tilted in her shocked hands, nearly spilling on a nearby passenger. You're the CEO of Horizon Tech? Diane stammered. The company worth billions? The same, Lisa confirmed with a small smile. Ben, who had returned to the galley, was trying hard not to laugh at the sudden change in atmosphere. He had recognized Lisa when she first boarded, but had treated her with the same respect he showed all passengers. Gregory was now frantically trying to recover. Ms. Martinez, I had no idea. Please understand, I meant no disrespect with my earlier comments. In fact, I've always admired Horizon Tech's cautious approach. Have you? Lisa asked mildly. That's not what you said earlier. I was just playing devil's advocate, Gregory insisted, sweat now visible on his forehead. Testing different perspectives, your company's strategy is clearly superior, as the Global Tech Partners deal proves. Pamela jumped in. Lisa, may I call you Lisa? I've been following your career for years. Such an inspiration to women in tech. I'd love to discuss potential collaborations between our companies. Lisa regarded them both with calm eyes. How interesting that my ideas are suddenly valuable now that you know my title. The first-class cabin had changed completely. What was once a space of quiet conversations and soft clinking of glasses was now filled with whispers and turned heads. Everyone was looking at the modest woman in seat 2A who had just been revealed. As Lisa Martinez, the billionaire CEO of Horizon Tech, Gregory shifted uncomfortably in his seat. His expensive suit suddenly felt too tight, and the champagne stain on his pants seemed to grow larger by the minute. He cleared his throat several times before speaking. Ms. Martinez, I want to apologize for my behavior earlier, he said in a voice loud enough for others to hear. I had no idea who you were. That's precisely the problem, isn't it? Lisa replied calmly. You believed I deserved less respect because you didn't know my title. Gregory's face reddened. No, that's not what I meant at all. I respect everyone equally. Do you? Lisa asked, raising an eyebrow. You spoke quite differently before you knew my name. Across the aisle, Pamela was frantically searching through her phone. She pulled up Lisa's profile on a business website and stared at the small photo, comparing it to the woman sitting across from her. It really is you, Pamela said in amazement. I've seen your picture in Forbes and Business Weekly, but you look so different in person. I dress for comfort when I travel, Lisa explained. Designer clothes and expensive jewelry don't make me better at my job. Diane, the flight attendant, appeared suddenly, carrying a fresh glass of tea with lemon and a plate of the best snacks from the first-class kitchen. Ms. Martinez, please accept this with our compliments, Diane said with a broad smile that hadn't been there before. If there's anything else you need, anything at all, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you, Diane, Lisa said, accepting the tea. Though I wonder why you didn't offer this level of service earlier. Diane's smile faltered. I'm so sorry if the service wasn't up to standard. We always aim to treat all our passengers with the utmost respect. All passengers? Lisa asked. Or just the ones who look important to you? Diane had no answer. She mumbled another apology and hurried away, her face flushed with embarrassment. Ben approached with a tablet in hand. Ms. Martinez, the captain asked me to give you this. It's a secure connection to your office. Your assistant said it was Urgent. Thank you, Ben, Lisa said warmly. You've been very kind throughout this flight. Ben smiled. Just doing my job, ma'am. I try to treat everyone the same. That's a valuable quality, Lisa said. More rare than it should be. As Ben walked away, Gregory leaned toward Lisa. Ms. Martinez, about the comments I made regarding Horizon Tech's approach to innovation, I was completely wrong. Your strategy is clearly superior to ours at PowerCore. Is that why Global Tech Partners chose us? Lisa asked, reviewing the documents on the tablet. Yes, exactly. Gregory nodded eagerly. They recognize quality when they see it. Speaking of which, I would love to discuss potential collaboration between our companies. PowerCore has some technologies that might interest you. The same technologies you described as revolutionary earlier? Lisa asked without looking up. The ones with security flaws? Gregory swallowed hard. Those were just early development issues. They've been resolved. Have they? Lisa looked at him directly. Our security team examined your API last month when you proposed the partnership. They found 17 critical vulnerabilities. Has your team fixed all of them? I'm not sure, Gregory admitted. I would need to check with my technical team. You might want to do that before your presentation tomorrow, Lisa suggested. Especially if you're planning to announce any new partnerships. Gregory nodded quickly and pulled out his phone, sending urgent messages to his development team. Pamela, not wanting to be left out, moved to the empty seat beside Lisa. Lisa, I've always admired your approach to business. The way you've built Horizon Tech is truly inspiring. I would love to grab coffee in San Francisco and discuss potential synergies between our companies. What synergies did you have in mind? Lisa asked. Pamela blinked, clearly not expecting to be questioned. Well, our jewelry company has a strong online presence, and with Horizon's technology, we could enhance the customer experience even further. Interesting, Lisa said. Though earlier you mentioned your team was struggling with AI implementation, what changed in the last hour? Nothing, I mean. We have challenges, certainly, but, Pamela stammered. Perhaps those are discussions for another time, Lisa said kindly. Right now I need to focus on these documents. Lisa returned to the tablet, reviewing the contract with Global Tech Partners. The deal would create thousands of new jobs and advance sustainable technology practices in the industry. This was why she had built Horizon Tech, not for personal glory or wealth, but to make a positive difference in the world. Other passengers in first class were now finding reasons to walk past Lisa's seat. Some pretended to head to the bathroom, while others claimed to need something from their bags in the overhead compartments. Each one glanced at Lisa with newfound respect and curiosity. A distinguished older gentleman stopped by her seat. Ms. Martinez, I don't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to tell you how much I admire your work. My daughter used your company's scholarship program to complete her computer science degree. She now works at a nonprofit using technology to help disaster victims. Lisa looked up with a genuine smile. That's wonderful to hear. What's your daughter's name? I'd love to learn more about her work. Sofia Garcia, the man said proudly. She speaks very highly of your company's values. I remember Sofia, Lisa said, surprising the man. She developed an emergency response application during her internship. Brilliant work. The man's eyes widened. You remember her personally? I try to meet all our scholarship recipients, Lisa explained. They're the future of our industry. The man thanked her and returned to his seat, clearly moved by the exchange. Gregory had been watching this interaction with growing discomfort. You remember individual scholarship students? He asked in disbelief. Of course, Lisa replied. People matter more than profits, Gregory. That's something PowerCore might want to consider in its business model. Gregory looked as if he'd been slapped. Before he could respond, the pilot announced they were beginning their descent into San Francisco. Please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts, the pilot said over the speakers. We'll be landing in approximately 20 minutes. Pamela reluctantly returned to her seat across the aisle, still trying to think of ways to connect with Lisa. Gregory stared straight ahead, his earlier confidence completely gone. Diane returned to collect the tablet from Lisa. Ms. Martinez, is there anything else you need before we land? No, thank you, Diane, Lisa replied, though I would suggest in the future that all passengers receive equal treatment, regardless of how they're dressed or what their job titles might be. Diane nodded, her face red with shame. Yes, of course. I sincerely apologize for my behavior earlier. As the plane descended toward San Francisco, Lisa closed her book and put it in her bag. She had accomplished a lot during this flight. Finalized the Global Tech Partners deal, addressed the security issue, and perhaps taught a few people an important lesson about respect and judgment. The plane broke through the clouds, revealing the beautiful San Francisco Bay below. Lisa looked out the window, thinking about all the work that lay ahead at the technology conference. She wasn't concerned about PowerCore or other competitors. Horizon Tech would continue to follow its path of ethical innovation and sustainable growth. Gregory cleared his throat beside her. Ms. Martinez, when we land, would it be possible to continue our conversation? Perhaps I could give you a ride to your hotel? Lisa turned to him with a gentle smile. Thank you, Gregory, but I have a car waiting, and quite a bit to think about after today's flight. The plane touched down smoothly at San Francisco International Airport. As the aircraft taxied to the gate, Lisa packed her book and notebook into her worn leather messenger bag. Around her, the other first-class passengers were stealing glances. In her direction, some openly staring. The revelation of her identity had transformed the atmosphere completely. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to San Francisco, the captain announced over the speakers. Local time is 2:15 p.m. and the temperature is a pleasant 68 degrees. Please remain seated until the aircraft comes to a complete stop. Gregory, still looking uncomfortable in his stained suit, leaned toward Lisa. Ms. Martinez, I just want to say again how sorry I am for my behavior earlier. If there's anything I can do to make it up to you. Just treat the next person you meet with the same respect you'd give a CEO, Lisa replied. Regardless of how they look or what they're wearing. Gregory nodded quickly. Of course, absolutely. The plane stopped at the gate and the seatbelt sign turned off with a soft ding. Unlike the usual rush to stand and retrieve bags, most of the first-class passengers remained seated, waiting to see what Lisa would do. It was as if an unspoken agreement had been made to let her exit first. Lisa stayed in her seat, in no hurry, to join the pushing and shoving that would soon begin. Gregory fidgeted beside her, clearly unsure whether to get up or wait with her. You can go ahead, Lisa told him kindly. I'm sure you have a busy schedule. Oh yes, thank you, Gregory said, relieved. He stood and pulled his expensive carry-on from the overhead bin. Before leaving, he placed a business card on Lisa's tray table. If you ever reconsider a partnership with PowerCore, please call me directly. Lisa took the card with a polite smile, but said nothing about future partnerships. She knew from her company's research that PowerCore's business practices didn't align with Horizon Tech's values of privacy and data security. As Gregory moved toward the exit, Pamela hurried to catch up with him, but not before stopping beside Lisa. It was truly an honor to meet you, Pamela gushed. I've updated my team about our connection. They're very excited about potential collaborations. Connection? Lisa repeated with a raised eyebrow. Pamela faltered. Well, I mean, our meeting today on the plane. Ah, I see, Lisa said. Safe travels, Pamela. Looking slightly deflated, Pamela nodded and followed Gregory off the plane. Other passengers began to stand and collect their belongings, each one nodding respectfully to Lisa as they passed. She acknowledged them with quiet nods in return. Diane approached one last time, her earlier coldness replaced with excessive warmth. Ms. Martinez, it has been such a pleasure having you on board today. On behalf of the airline, I want to apologize again for any inconvenience. Thank you, Diane, Lisa said, but perhaps save some of that special treatment for passengers who aren't CEOs. Everyone deserves respect. Diane's smile wavered. Yes, of course. You're absolutely right. Ben appeared beside Diane. Ms. Martinez, your car is waiting at the curb. The driver asked me to let you know he's in position whenever you're ready. Thank you, Ben, Lisa said with genuine warmth. You've been consistently thoughtful throughout the flight. Ben smiled. Just doing my job, ma'am. Though I have to admit I recognized you when you boarded. My sister works as a developer at Horizon Tech. She always speaks highly of the company culture you've created. What's your sister's name? Lisa asked. Kelly Reynolds. She's on the mobile app team. Lisa's face brightened with recognition. Kelly is brilliant. She proposed the accessibility features we implemented last quarter. Those changes have made our products available to thousands of people with disabilities. Ben beamed with pride. That's her. She loves working at Horizon. We're lucky to have her, Lisa said sincerely. She reached into her bag and pulled out a business card, much simpler than Gregory's flashy gold-embossed one. If you're ever interested in a career change, send me your resume. We value people who treat others with equal respect. Ben accepted the card with surprise and gratitude. Thank you, Ms. Martinez. I might just do that. As the last passengers filed out, Lisa finally stood and retrieved her small carry-on bag. She walked down the aisle, thanking the remaining crew members, and exited the plane. In the terminal, Lisa noticed Gregory and Pamela standing together, deep in conversation. They hadn't gone far, likely hoping for another chance to speak with her. When they spotted her, they straightened up and put on wide smiles. Lisa, Pamela called out, dropping the formality. We were thinking of sharing a ride to the conference hotel. There's terrible traffic this time of day. Thank you, but my transportation is arranged, Lisa replied, walking past them with a polite nod. She continued through the terminal, ignoring the stares from people who recognized her. Despite her modest appearance, word had spread quickly that Lisa Martinez was in the airport. A few people took photos with their phones, trying to be discreet, but failing. Lisa made her way to the exit, where a simple black car waited at the curb. The driver, an older man named Frank who had worked with Lisa for years, stood beside it. Good afternoon, Ms. Martinez. Frank greeted her with a genuine smile. How was your flight? Educational, Lisa replied with a small laugh. Very educational. Frank took her bag and opened the door for her. As Lisa was about to get in, she heard someone calling her name. She turned to see Gregory rushing toward her, slightly out of breath. Ms. Martinez, one more thing, he said, reaching into his pocket. I forgot to mention I'm speaking at the conference tomorrow about ethical business practices in tech. I would be honored if you could attend. Lisa looked at the invitation he held out. The irony wasn't lost on her. A man who had spent the entire flight boasting about cutting corners and dismissing privacy concerns was now claiming to be an expert on ethics. I have a rather full schedule, Lisa said, but I wish you luck with your presentation. Gregory's face fell. Perhaps another time, then. Perhaps, Lisa agreed, though they both knew it was unlikely. As she settled into the car, Lisa saw Pamela exit the terminal, frantically waving to get her attention. Lisa asked Frank to wait a moment and rolled down her window. Yes, Pamela? She asked. I just wanted to say, Pamela began, slightly breathless. I've learned an important lesson today. I judged you by your appearance, and I was completely wrong. I won't make that mistake again. For the first time, Pamela sounded sincere rather than opportunistic. Lisa smiled. That's all any of us can do, Pamela. Learn from our mistakes and try to be better tomorrow than we were today. Pamela nodded, looking thoughtful. Thank you for that. Lisa rolled up her window and signaled to Frank that they could go. As the car pulled away from the curb, she watched Gregory and Pamela through the rear window. They stood there watching her leave, two people who had just been taught a valuable lesson about respect and judgment. Frank glanced at Lisa in the rearview mirror. Interesting people, he asked. Let's just say they discovered that appearances can be deceiving, Lisa replied. Ah, Frank nodded knowingly. They didn't recognize you in your normal person clothes? Lisa laughed. No, they didn't. And they made sure I knew I didn't belong in first class. Their loss, Frank said simply. So, straight to the office? Your team is eager to celebrate the Global Tech Partners deal. Yes, but let's stop for coffee first, Lisa decided. I want to hear about your daughter's college graduation. Did she like the book I sent? As the car merged into traffic, Lisa put the flight behind her. Tomorrow at the technology conference, she would likely see Gregory and Pamela again. Perhaps they would treat the next casually dressed person they met with more respect. Or perhaps they would forget the lesson as soon as the opportunity for another business deal arose. Either way, Lisa would continue being exactly who she was, a successful CEO who valued substance over style, kindness over status, and who knew that true worth had nothing to do with appearances,